Howdy, everybody. It's been way too long since we've done this. It's been what, like something like a something like a month of hiatus, just through, not intentionally, but just week after week there being one thing or another. A couple of them in a row where just like way too exhausted from DMing other stuff, having done like Burning Wheel earlier in the day. And I have learned the hard way just how hard it is to go straight from one into the other. I've done it a couple of times, but like, oh man, it really takes it out of you. A couple of those, and then a couple of weekends of just being too busy to possibly even try, and just all sorts of stuff. But we are back. This was kind of like the linchpin week where I was like, if I come up with any kind of excuse to not do this week, I feel like it's over. Like, there's just too many. This is the week where I got to make that stand and decide, like, am I just going to roll with it and decide, like, this will just get forgotten, or do I want to fight to bring it back? And I decided fight to bring it back. So we are continuing with more Ironsworn. It is going to be a fight this week, though, because thanks to all of that time off, I'm going to need, like, I'm going to be relying so heavily on my notepad and the memory of anybody else who's been watching through the episodes, because, to be honest, I don't spend a lot of time thinking about this during the week, especially when I'm not streaming about it. So, like, there are so many details that I may well be getting wrong. If you are watching through this on YouTube and have the benefit of going straight from one to the next and having things far more recently, I apologize in advance for any inconsistencies that might happen. It's been a while since the last episode, and there's things I'm not going to remember all that well. I've got notes. I'm going to do my best to keep it as close as possible to how things were, but not everything. Some things might just change, and we're just going to have to accept that, because I'd rather things move forward than spend like a million years trying to remember all the details. So, why don't we go right into it and get started? Because, like, why spend this much time talking in the beginning when we can just go back into it? Let me give a little bit of a reminder for myself and everybody where we left off, and we can kind of look at the sheet to help us with that. Thankfully, everything is exactly how we left it, so I can kind of be like, okay, right, that's what we were doing. I'm not going to go all the way from the beginning of everything that's happened in this story, but some of the most relevant stuff that I recall, we left off with last session was like Coyote Devereaux on his red venom bender, where he had been like way too jacked up on this mystical drug, ran off into the desert, lost track of time. We don't know how long he's been gone. Who knows? Could be days, could be weeks. He went way farther away than he expected to, wound up in kind of a more tribal area, encountered this one tribe who was seeking help from them, but it was not going too well, and they weren't all that trustworthy, and like there was some trust issues going both ways. That was let me pull up my notes now. That was I remembered it correctly, the Blackfoot tribe was the first tribe he had stumbled upon, these Blackfoots, and there was a lot of mistrust between them. Apparently, some of the source of that was because there's been an active conflict between the Blackfoots and the Shadow Bears, this other tribe nearby that seems to be a lot more of an aggressive tribe. And apparently, Coyote then ran afoul of them as well. He managed to find them on his like continued journey to try and find his way back home. Because he's got all sorts of stuff he needs to take care of there. It's just been this spiraling out of control situation for Coyote of always trying to get something done, and ultimately just making more problems to have to deal with. But he stumbled upon a member of the Shadow Bears in that process, and this is one of the things where I don't remember all the details of it, but I know one way or another they kind of struck a deal to have the Tan, this guy from the Shadow Bears. I think I remember he like encountered him in a cave or something, managed to convince him to help escort him back to the town of Gibbet, where he's from. And I recall a lot of it seemed to be with the implication that there was going to be a fight coming. Like, basically, Coyote was going to be helping lead the Shadow Bears to Gibbet, teach him the way to get there. And I don't have it in my notes, but there was something he was going to, like, leave there, or Tom was going to leave it there. That was basically, the implication was there was some kind of, like, magic to it, where it was going to allow them to, like, basically bring their army to the doorstep in like a kind of portal kind of way. Again, I don't remember the exact details of that anymore, but it was something like that. There was something he was going to leave behind, and it was going to act like, I don't remember if it was like a circlet or something. We're going to say it was, just because I really don't remember what it was. So he's got like some kind of iron circlet that's going to connect these places. And yeah, as a result of that, like they've not been very good road companions. It's been a very contentious kind of situation with like the Ton has been literally just like stealing, it been bullying him. Like he'll just like steal Coyote's food and be like, hey, you need to earn your food. Coyote has been like, there was a moment where he tried to like earn some respect. There's something about like hurling rocks at Ton. I don't remember the exact situation why, but the main thing I remember where we actually like the moment where we left off was this time where Ton was asleep at camp, and because of like just how bad it's been, how much bullying's been going on, Coyote finally kind of found it in himself to be a little bit more of a like protector and do something for good. Like it's definitely mutual interest, but he swore this last vow that we see down there: I will defend Gibbet against the Shadow Bears and kill Ton. Something that Ton did, and I don't remember what exact moment pushed him over the line, but Ton pushed him over the edge, and he decided like, no, you know what? This is too much. I don't like this guy. I don't have the power to do it myself, but he's going to find a way to defend Gibbet and personally kill Ton was the implication behind that vow. He's going to need some help to do it. He's not really a very fighty kind of guy. Randomly what? Tried to watch on tablet, and for some reason it's all black mobile. Okay, well, weird. That definitely sounds like a local issue, though. If it's not just all black for everybody, then for anything, I don't know what's going on with the tablet, but it doesn't sound like anything I could take care of here. Anyway, let's get started. Let's find a way to progress this story. So if you're unfamiliar with the system, and this is your first time watching it, a lot of this it's a system where you make moves. You kind of narrative, and then you come to these moments where it's time to make a move. And there's various ones you can make. They're situation dependent. You roll them. I'll explain when the dice actually come out what they mean. Depending on how well you roll, either it'll go exactly the way you want it to, it'll go the way you want it to, but there's some complications, or it'll utterly fail. And all these individual moves have their own description of how they work. This is a Powered by the Apocalypse game, so it had with everything that entails. The main idea behind this game is you swear vows, which are these things I've got written down in there, and you accomplish them, and you try and see how successfully you do them. You get into a lot of trouble along the way. And ultimately, hey, Unicorn Horn Power, welcome. Ultimately, the real kind of end game of Ironsworn, I've never really talked about this, and it's something I'm saying out loud because I need to remind myself. The real end game is all about bonds. You may see this tracker up here at the very top that we don't have filled in. The kind of metric for when you retire your character, when your character's story is over, is all based on meeting people, forming bonds with them, and like testing your bonds, and eventually filling that track in. And then someday you're ready to just be like, I'm done with this character. And it's all based on really filling that bond track. These vows that you swear, they're great, and they help you get experience points, and which you can spend on upgrading your character in different ways. But to like end the game, you gotta meet characters and like form relationships with them. And I've kind of done that. I have not done a very good job with it, though, and I need to keep that in mind, that like that's ultimately the end goal. Now, partly it's because I've done very little in this game. I do believe I have. There are people with whom I have bonds. I have a bond with my dad, and I have a bond with this angel face. I've never like tested a bond though, and partly, but that's just because I don't think I'm ready. So we wake up. We're at camp with Coyote Devereaux and Ton, and I imagine this is a situation where Ton is just like, Coyote has just been up all night, just pondering this idea. I don't think he's gotten any sleep this night. He's just like staring over at Ton's body, constantly contemplating like, should I do it? Is this the night? Like, am I ready? And ultimately talking himself out of it and determining like, no, I can't. It's too dangerous. I need to get back home to see what the hell happened with my dad, and I got to take care of these situations that I've already sworn myself to. He's starting to take his vows a little bit more seriously. Like, I think the more he's done it, the more it's kind of started resonating inside him. It's like there's like a real magic to swearing these iron vows, and the more he does it, the more he feels the connection to be like, no, these are real. Like, these aren't just words that I said. There's some mystical force that's binding me to these. And so I need to take care of the ones I've done. And so we've already seen that I can't get back to town by myself. I need Ton's help. So I'm not going to kill him tonight, but he's just like seething with just this rage. And part of it is the red venom's residue still there. And part of it is just, Ton's been a real dick to him. But I want to get this started with with Ton rolling one more roll to try and get back to town. This is an adventuring roll. And thankfully, the real reason why we have Ton here is so that Coyote doesn't have to make these. Because, let me pull up the journey, I forget what all these are called. The Undertaken Journey. When you travel across hazardous or unfamiliar land, set the rank of your journey. We've already done that. This is a dangerous journey, which means that every time we reach a waypoint, we're going to fill in 2 of these red squares. So we're most of the way there, and we don't have to fill it up all the way, but the more we do, the more likely it is that it'll go right. But this is a wits thing, and as you can see up there, wits is not one of his strong suits. However, Ton has good wits, so we're using his stats. He's doing it for us, basically. And so because I'm using Ton's stat, I have all of these little hot things down here that'll auto do the rolls for me. So I'm pretending that I'm making a roll with heart because statistically it's the same thing. He doesn't have any modifiers on this. We haven't set it up in any way, but like the morning breaks, and I think there's a lot of just like bitterness that day. Like Coyote, first of all, he's starving a little bit because Ton hasn't been allowing him to eat. I think like the sun finally rises, and like Coyote's been staying up all night, so he doesn't want to like have this take any longer than he like starts kicking him in the side, and he's just like, "Wake up! I know we're getting close. You're not lazy, are you?" And he's like, not giving Coyote a lot of respect, but ultimately, eventually, they start hitting the trail, and we'll see how this day goes. I clicked on my OBS, which is not a way to move this window around. So let's see. Let's have them undertake a journey. First roll of the game. How will it go? The way it always goes around here. My challenge... So, opportunity to tell you about the mechanics of the game one more time if this is your first time viewing, or if you're unfamiliar with Ironsworn. Mechanically, what happened here? I roll a d6, and I roll 2 d10s. You can see it in this window down here. There we go. You can see in this window the way that happened. So I rolled a 3 on here. It was with his wits, which are +3. So we have a grand total of a 6. What we compare that to is each of these challenge dice individually. So each of these d10s were rolled. One of them is a little bit off the screen, I know, but I can't control exactly where they land. So we're trying to beat each of these dice. Now, if you beat 0 of them, you get a miss, which is what happened. If you beat 1 of them but not the other, you get a weak hit. I have to remind myself all the terminology. A weak hit, which is one of those, you get what you want, but there's usually some complications with it. Or there's always some complications with it, but you usually get what you want is really more the way to say it. And then if you get both of them, which is very much not what we did, if you beat both of them, you get a strong hit, which is usually like you get what you want perfectly, there's no complications, and usually it helps kind of build your momentum along the way, and all sorts of good stuff happens. We did not get that. We got a total miss, which is happening all the time in this game. And it's because we just rolled so high on the challenge dice. Something about this day, I think I'm going to interpret it a little bit as like there's just so much bitterness between these two that they're getting in each other's way. And like they're doing so much arguing. All right, first of all, let me read what happens when you get a miss on Undertake a Journey. So you're waylaid by a perilous event, pay the price. Now, the number one thing I could think of right now would definitely be, as I'm mentioning, like they're kind of stepping on each other's toes and arguing a lot. They're not paying a lot of attention to the road. They could definitely, I think, attract some outside attention. Yeah, I think there should be an outside combatant that's... I want an event that kind of forces them to work together a little bit more. And we're going to make a combat event here. So let's see. I'm going to use an oracle here. Because I want to get some inspiration on, like, what kind of thing... I don't want it to be another, like, wolf like before. I want this to be a person. So I'm going to use some automatic generators here to get an idea of, like, what kind of person are we running into? And what do they want? So we're gonna roll up a character roll. A forester. Okay, that makes sense. So they could certainly wind up in, like, a more foresty area. Because these Ironlands are weird, man. We've gone from... There's just all sorts of weird stuff. Or maybe this forester, because we're a little bit more deserty right now. There's a lot of dust and everything. Maybe they are a forester, but they're way outside of their turf. And so they're a little bit more on edge as a result of that. Because they've heard all sorts of things about the horrible barbarians of these Ironlands, and they're mistrusty of everybody. And then a character goal. I want to find out a little bit more about, like, what do they want? I mean, right now I think the number one thing is that they're gonna just be way too defensive, by which I mean offensive, and just immediately start attacking us because thinks he's gonna be caught. I want to flavor it a little bit more with a goal, though. Like, why are they so on edge? Beyond just being outside of their home in the Ironlands. Find redemption. Ooh, now that's interesting. Because I had an idea in mind where, like, I think they're protecting somebody. I think that there's a family nearby, and they're doing the full-on, like, gotta protect their family. But find redemption. This sounds like... I feel like this family used to be bigger. And they probably are. They're playing Oregon Trail right now, and not all the family is making it. They have lost some members along the way, and I think that's what this redemption is about. Now, obviously, Coyote and Tom don't know this, but we know this person is fighting not only to protect their family, but also to redeem themselves in the eyes of, you know, their god, whoever that is, that they've not done right. They have failed their family. I think they've lost, God, let's say like 2 or 3 people along the road. Probably some of them to like bandits or something. And so he's not going to let this happen again. Yeah. So this person, like, just launches out with an immediate combat. I don't think they're going to be all that formidable. But we do have to fight them. Let's call this a, like, I really don't see this person as a big, yeah, he's a forester, but he's not a big warrior or anything. Really is probably just like a troublesome challenge. So let's fill this in to give ourselves officially this combatant. So we got a troublesome dude there. And does anybody have a name for this person who's like defending their family way outside of their home? Why exactly they're out here, we don't know. Maybe we'll find out more later. Like, I want to communicate the idea that he's just kind of like simple folk. Like, definitely nothing that sounds too highborn or anything. I'm thinking, like, the name Rudolph is coming. It, like, goes by Rudy, probably. Rudolph is coming to mind. Yeah, we'll just call him Rudolph for now. Don't bother with the last name or anything. Huck. Ooh, yeah, that's definitely not a... doesn't have any too high board. Yeah, like, let's just call him... Yeah, like... I do like Huck. I do want to incorporate that. We could just call him Rudolph Huck. I don't know of any great way to, like, edit once it's already there. Sometimes it's hard to make it work. There's a lot of things that I really wish I could turn off that little, that thing. So Rudolph Huck, this guy who's just, like, launched into an attack. I feel like we were making a little too much noise, and there was like we passed by this kind of sort of cliffside where we didn't notice that there's a bit of a hidden cave behind some like shrubs and rocks and stuff. There's like a step up there, and it goes into a cave, and their family had camped there for the night, and Rudolph heard us coming by and basically immediately jumps to the conclusion that we're gonna attack them. He needs to do it first. I think reasonably he determined that Ton is a greater threat than Coyote for so many reasons, and so he's gonna launch a rock. Like, what kind of, how would he be equipped? So we've determined guns are not especially common in this world, so you wouldn't have a gun, but like, he's a forester. Maybe he'd have some kind of like throwing axe or something. As well as like some others. Says, yeah, I mean, let's just say he's got some throwing axes, and one just comes sailing at Ton. Now, Ton is not my character, so I'm not gonna like chart his exact stats or anything. We'll just say like we'll say it hits him. He's not just like out for the count or anything, but like there's a It's not a. It's like a glancing blow in his shoulder or something. It just initiates this combat, makes him mad, makes us aware that he's up there, and let's start this proper. So, I don't think we have the momentum right now. When you're in a combat, there are certain moves that you can and can't take depending on when you. I don't think momentum is the right word. There's some word they use in this game. Initiative, I think. Yes, when you have initiative. Okay. So we don't have the initiative right now. I think he's got the drop on us, but let's see what we can do. And I think Coyote is very much going to be taking the tack that, like, this is also your job, Ton. Like, you're aware of how little I can do. So Coyote's going to be doing stuff to try and set Ton up more than, like, attack this guy directly. Especially because as far as the main reason why he's pissed is Ton is supposed to get him home, and Coyote is supposed to kill Ton. So, like, it's not exactly all that bent out of shape that Ton got hit with an axe. Oh, I guess we need to do an official. We were ambushed, so we need to do a wits roll. So reverse that a little bit. I'd forgotten a little bit of how this works mechanically. So we're ambushed, which means we roll our wits. Which again, this is really Ton's wits. So I'm gonna be rolling heart because he's got the better lookout right now. I'm gonna give him. No, I guess I shouldn't mess with the rules. Gonna do this right. Hey, he gets a strong hit. Okay, so we've entered the fray. So it's probably more that this sails past us. So on a strong hit, take +2 momentum and we have initiative. So it sails past, but his Ton sense is tingling just enough to like duck out of the way, whizzes past his nose, and now we see where this guy is. So we have +2 momentum. Move that up here. Because for better or worse, Ton and I are a team right now. Momentum, recall, is something that'll be supremely useful for turning bad rolls into better ones. They can potentially turn a miss all the way into a strong hit if you build up enough and you roll just right. So yes, we have the initiative. I think Ton is definitely not going to be dealing with that shit. So regardless of what Coyote wants to do, Ton is immediately like, this is what he's trained to do. Like he doesn't take no guff from people throwing axes at him. Immediately has his own, just like, I don't remember if we ever said specifically what Ton carries on him, but a battle axe seems right. Just big ol' hefty blades on a big battle axe. It's your classic, metal band kind of thing. And we have a classic move in here called Strike. When you have initiative and attack in close quarters, which is going to do, he's basically going to... I see, like, we have a moment here where we see just how formidable of a foe Ton is on his own and how scary he's going to be later because, like, we've got this cliffside that he more or less just, like, bounds up like a goat. Like, he just... he has both his hands on his axe. He climbs, like, just running up, basically. Keeps finding these footholds, and, I mean, he's an NPC, so we can just allow him to do this. Just bounds from perch to perch and just goes up there, never losing his stride to make this strike. And like we see this reflection in Coyote's eyes where he's like, oh shit, like, I swore to defeat this guy. But he's gonna be rolling his iron, which is gonna be a +2 for him. So we're gonna consider that just like Coyote's edge. And yeah, here we go. So he has the initiative. He's going to strike. Let's see what happens. All right, so we have a weak hit right now because we rolled a couple of minimum things. Now, we could kill momentum to make this great. However, I'd rather not. Like, we have such a built-up momentum. I don't want it just for this. I don't think this is going to be that bad of a combat anyway. I'd rather build up momentum for some really important stuff later, like getting back to town. So on a weak hit, we inflict our harm and lose initiative. Now, because this guy is just a troublesome foe, that means where every hit is going to deal, or every harm is going to do 3 boxes of damage. 3 boxes of progress, really, if you want to think of it more like that. Actually, I should make this freehand. So... Filled in. filled in. But we lose initiative. So what that means is we're now a little bit on, like, Ton comes up, and I think he manages to strike and get this guy back on his heels and, like, almost falling off the edge, but does not actually connect. But in the process, Ton, I think, you know, he really did something to do that kind of a bounding spring and everything. I think he lost, like, they all kind of lost their footing a little bit. Like, maybe Ton's weight and the strike and everything, like, it dislodges something that kind of throws them both off a little bit. And Ton being bigger is not as quick. Like, this guy's a little bit more nimble, and so he regains his footing quicker. Now, since we don't have initiative, there's certain moves we can't do. Like, we can't do strike. There's a kind of, like, on your heels sort of fighting thing called clash that we could do. But I'd like Coyote to do something. It's never a good idea. It means that things get worse typically. But Coyote is indeed the main character, and we should have him do something. So we've got a lot of momentum right now. We've observed Coyote before to be a decent shot with a rock. He could certainly find one of those around and just try and yeah. I think he's gonna use the secure an advantage move. So the way he's gonna try and gain leverage is basically he's indeed gonna throw a rock at this guy, but the main point is, like, it's less about dealing damage and more about getting him to back up and, like, dodge in the wrong direction. So he wants him to fall off because they're up on this cliffside, and he figures guy tumbles down. Now he's, like, on his back, and really we've got a big advantage on him. We can take the initiative back. So yeah, he's going to be rolling edge on this because it's with speed, agility, or precision. So yeah, he's finding a rock, throwing it at this guy to try and force him in the wrong direction. So let's roll his edge and see what happens. There we go. I'm glad that was adjusted. So we've got a weak hit on this, which does not get initiative back on its own. Oh, because that is indeed a 9, not a 3. Yeah, we've got our weak hit. We rolled well on this die, but the D10, that's the problem. What will we get on a weak hit? Advantage is short-lived, take +1 momentum. That's fine. Again, I don't want to kill it just for this. Am I wearing a pretty floral bonnet? Me? Hey, by the way, welcome, Cassio. Good to see you back. If you consider my headphones that. It was good to see you. We are playing Ironsworn, a game designed to be able to be played without a DM. That's as one of the ways to play it. We're going to take our +1 momentum. Now, we have not regained our initiative just yet, but I think the way we're going to narrate this is he tries, it throws him more off his footing, but this guy is nimble enough. He doesn't indeed fall, but it's indeed kind of setting Ton up a little bit. We've built that momentum. We're ready to make something happen just that little bit more. But we still, I guess, for whatever reason, Ton is still struggling a little bit to be ready. We're not ready to just strike. But we could indeed try and do this clash, which is when your foe has initiative and you fight with them in close quarters, or exchange of all. Like, if you're kind of on your heels but still just, like, backing up and fighting. Which, yeah, we should really make it a little bit, like, if we don't have the initiative, we definitely need to describe this a little bit differently, because it's still, the way I'm describing it sounds a little bit too much like it's neutral, and it shouldn't be. The foe has the initiative, so I feel like this guy finds a way to, like really whirl around with his own axe and, like, dodge this rock and do a spin that, like, really gets into Ton's face. Like, he finds a way to get ready. I gave him that, like, moment of distraction, which is, like, we've built, like, narrative momentum, but initiative is still his. So he's, like, in Ton's grill, and he keeps just, like, going back and forth, like, trying to block his blows with his own blade, and trying to find a way to just, like, throw this guy off his footing and do. So yeah, like, well, we're just gonna roll a clash. We're gonna have him roll his iron and see if we can basically take the initiative back and get ready to just wallop this guy. So yes, rolling his iron is the same as rolling Coyote's edge, so I'm just gonna do that. What do we got? What do we got? Oof. Continuing to, as always, just roll way too well on D10s. Again, next time I roll D10s for another game, I just need to pretend that I'm playing Ironsworn, because, Jesus, always rolling like 7s and above on here. Well, okay, I'm looking back at my history, and that's objectively not true, but my confirmation bias. So we have a complete miss on this. Now, this is one where I could turn it into a weak hit. Well, let's see what happens on Clash. So if we accept an all-out miss, you're outmatched and must pay the price. Your foe has initiative. On a weak hit, we would turn it into inflict your harm, but they have and pay the price. Like basically, they're exactly the same, except in one case we'd be able to inflict harm first. So basically, Tan would find his moment to at least get one quick slash in, but he'd still just like it's a very short-lived moment. And he suffers a little bit to get it. I don't know that that's worth killing. We've built up so much momentum for this, and again, Tan's the one who's going to suffer on this, so it's really hard for me to care all that much when Coyote does not like him, and he's been a real jerk. Yeah, I'm gonna let him pay the price on this. And not inflict any harm. So yeah, outmatched. I think indeed this is the moment where this guy indeed like he does a "This is Sparta" on Tan, and the bigger they are, the harder they fall. He gets it on. He's a little bit top heavy, and just like I think he indeed like knocks back Tan's axe just a little bit, and then raises a boot and kicks him square in the chest while he's up like this. And that battle axe is heavy, so I think his own weapon is kind of his undoing, and Tan is going to tumble down and definitely pay the price physically. Pay the price is a move in this game, or not technically, it is a fate move. So when you suffer the outcome of a move, choose one. Make the most obvious negative outcome happen, which the most obvious thing is indeed he gets kicked down, he tumbles, he's going to suffer some harm. Or, I mean, we could do some other stuff. We could determine like what of these couple of things happens. We could roll on a table to get inspiration, but really, it's a clear enough outcome. That's what happens. So his health is gonna go down. He's gonna take a tumble and not be ready. I think the real pay the price on this is that he's gonna have the cuckoo birds going around his head for a second. It's gonna be Coyote and this guy, and I think this guy indeed like takes his moment. Seeing that like the Tan is a little bit messed up and Coyote's already thrown a rock on it, I think he's gonna like leap down. He's like filled with this I gotta protect my family kind of fury. Leaps down off of this cliffside. It's not that high up. It's probably like, I don't know, like 1 story up. So like it's a brave jump, but not like, oh my god, you're gonna really hurt yourself doing that. Leaps down with this axe and is going to try and hit Coyote with it. Now again, what's a little bit weird about this game is as compared to other ones, is we don't go back and forth and have like, okay, I hit you, you hit me, I hit you, you hit me. It's all about just, you do different moves based on initiative and just kind of narrate stuff as makes sense. So he's not like literally rolling an attack against Coyote, but we can see now him like leaping through, and it's time for, like, Coyote has got to get out of the way. I think we're going to make him do a face danger move, basically as an active, just we make him dodge. And hopefully, if he can do this just right, he'll gain back initiative so he can do something. Nice fit. Yes, I like it quite a bit. Especially, the unfortunate part is you never really see the inside of it, which I really like. The lining has got all these cool, just like, keys and, like, it's all sorts of, like, brasswork type of stuff in there. I don't know if it's showing up or not. It's really cool. I've got a complete outfit that kind of goes along with this. But yes, anyway, we're going to have him do a face danger. I believe this is indeed with speed or agility as he tries to just get out of the way. So we're going to have him roll his edge and hopefully have him get a strong hit on this naturally. And if not, this is where I might care a little bit more, make him roll momentum. So, or burn momentum. What do we got here? There we go. Natural strong hit. So again, if you're unfamiliar with the system, we roll this action die. We add in our We add in our relevant stat, which in this case is edge. So that turned that 6 into an 8. We then compare it to each of these numbers, a 2 and a 7. Strong hit. Wait, what Firefly Rev? I must have missed it. It just like flipped out so naturally. I didn't even notice I was doing it. So yeah, strong hit on face danger, which allows us successful take +1 momentum. So basically, indeed, this guy leaps down. Coyote steps out of the way. Rawr, I'm a dino. Well, thank you for getting the tip jar started. As we mentioned, it's like a 10-foot drop, so it's not like gonna hurt him. But like, you know, if you've ever jumped down from that high, there's that moment of shock there, and I think that's what Coyote gets to capitalize on. To let's see. So we gotta. I could, like, it makes most sense because they're, like, right there in melee range for him to, like, sock him one in the jaw, but we know Coyote's not good at that. What we need him to do is either use his shadow or use his edge, because I don't think we can really justify him using his heart to hurt this guy. But we have the momentum, so I need to strike him. You don't get too many opportunities to do it, so you gotta use it when you can. Inflict that harm. But indeed, I'm attacking in close quarters, not at range, so like it is an iron thing. Just popping in to say hi. Well, thank you for that, and I'll see you some other time. Unless I can somehow use my use shadow with it, but no, that's not what the move says. So yeah, well, we've got momentum. We might be able to make this work. If I roll like last time, it might work anyway. We're gonna roll that iron. He's right there. He sees his moment. The guy's down. Oh, you know what he could do? He could try and take the axe from him while he's like kind of in that moment of shock. I think that would still be an iron thing. It wouldn't be strike. That would be just a different move. Yeah, let's just sock him in the face. That can come later. I know mechanically I don't get too many opportunities to actually inflict him harm unless I take them when they come. So let's just do that. Gonna do a strike. Gonna be using my iron, unfortunately. And we'll see how it goes. All right, we have a weak hit. And I indeed could turn that into a strong hit. But I know that on strike, weak hit still inflicts harm. I'm just going to lose initiative, which honestly, that's fine with me. Doing the harm was the big part. So I do my harm. Coyote finds out it gets him. It's really only because he's at such a disadvantage that this does as much harm. Because again, this is like, it's not that he did as much damage as Tan does. It's that narratively we've progressed the fight in the same amount. You know, there's clashing back and forth. He gets his moment to just hit him, I think, right in the eye. Or no, I think he does it in the ear. Because like this, he's a dirty guy, and I think he knows that like getting hit like squarely in the ear, it's really painful, and it's gonna throw him off a little bit, and just really loud noise. Yeah, I think he does a quick like making it look like he's going one direction, and then just goes right around and straight onto his ear. So he's gonna deal that harm. Oh, come on. Fill that in, fill that in, fill that in. So we're over the halfway point in the fight. Now, this is the opportunity for me to mention one more time that the way these kind of progress trackers work are you don't have to fill them all the way in. Basically, what we'll wind up doing is rolling shoot, wow, it's been a while. I can't remember if I think it's a D6 that you roll against it. No, that's right. Okay. So the way it works is I'll roll those 2 D10s. I don't have a D6 or anything to add to it. And basically, we're going to pretend that this many boxes is what I rolled. So if I'm comfortable with having rolled a 6, if I think that can beat the challenge dice, the same challenge dice as usual, it's going to be a strong hit, weak hit, or miss the same way as usual. And we're deterred, like, whenever I want to end the fight, we're just using this value. So it's like, do I think that was, the final blow? That's enough to end it? It could, it might. It would be safer if I got one more harm in, because then we'd be comparing it to a 9. But honestly, I want to be, like, I don't want this fight to be too much of the session. I want to just kind of move things along. I think that was a dirty enough hit. It's throwing him off a little bit. I want to see what happens. We're going to end the fight right here. There's been a little bit of axe stuff. Ton's a little bit thrown off. This guy's a little bit thrown off. Even if there's consequences, I've got wait, I forget. Can you use momentum on this? All right, ignore momentum when making a progress move. So that's the one consideration that I forgot about. I cannot use momentum. But, I don't know, I should be able to get at least a weak hit on this. Yeah, screw it. I'm going along with it. I don't want to spend too much time thinking. We've been off for a month. I want to progress the story. I really want to finish our opening thing. So I'm going to make a progress move. We're going to roll these 2d10s. See what happened. 3 and a 7. Okay, so barely a weak hit, but a weak hit. We almost got that strong hit, which would have been very nice. But weak hit on ending the fight. So, oh, hold on. I may not have been allowed to do that. So, end the fight move. When you make a move to take decisive action and score a strong hit, you may resolve the outcome of the fight. I did not get a strong hit on my punch on him, so I actually can't have done that. So never mind. It is... I forget, there are more caveats on it than I realized. So ignore that. Could have been nice, but... So we've lost the initiative. The fight is not over yet. It was too glancing of a blow to really... He's grabbing the side of his head, and he hates it. And I think Ton, has recovered, but is now, intrigued enough by the idea of me actually fighting for myself that he wants to let me do it. He's there in case this goes poorly and needs to step in, but he's like, you know what? No. Let the skinny man do it. I wanna see what happens. And this might be a moment where maybe he'll start respecting Coyote a little bit more if he can finish it himself. He doesn't have the initiative now, though. So, let's see. I think he's going to have to... I mean, this seems like a clash situation. I mean, they're right up in each other's faces. So it's going to be that same sort of backing up, try and find your moment to do something a little bit more. Yeah, your foe has initiative. We're fighting him in close corners. It's an iron thing, unfortunately. Is not what he's great at, but we got to try. But this is where we can use momentum. So let's see. Hey, there we go. We don't need to, though. Coyote's finding it in himself right now to actually fight his own battles. He naturally got his own strong hit. There we go. He can make something happen sometimes. So on a strong hit, inflict your harm and choose one. You have the initiative. So either take +1 momentum, or you find an opening, inflict +1 harm. Yeah. So we would just fill up the track. I'm definitely going to take the inflict +1 harm. So we're going to deal 2 harm to this guy. He had us on our heels, and I think the way that this works, because again, Coyote is a trickster. We see it right there on the sheet. I probably just pointed in the wrong direction. Can't. All right, no, I did. Right there on the sheet. He's a trickster. He fights weirdly, and I think what throws this guy off is he lands the blow and then backs up, but then Coyote immediately. He does a trick of mine, actually. Now, I've never been in an actual fight, but this came up in a different situation where I can tell you how much this throws somebody off. You immediately fall down on your back. They're not expecting it at all. This happened in this wrestling thing this is called Indian wrestling back in the day. I'm sure there's a better way to refer to it, but it's this idea where you have your feet up against each other and you're trying to make the person move their foot. And you've got fists with each... Anyway, point is, I threw this guy off really, way a lot when he tried to, push me off my footing, and I just went with it and, basically limboed back, hit the ground, and then pulled him down with me. So I think Coyote does a similar thing here, where he, immediately rolls back and falls. This guy doesn't expect it coming from that direction, and then just launches a kick upwards right between his legs, just kicks him in the nuts. He's a dirty fighter. He doesn't care about just, putting on a good face, and, let's say he's probably got a steel toe boot in there or something that just the one, he's wearing boots that don't match, but one of them is stolen, and it's just this powerful kick right between his legs fills up the track. So we are definitely ready to end the fight now. We got our strong hit. Technically we could still miss on this because ties don't work. So we do still need to make the progress move, even though this tracker is all the way filled up. ba-boop, 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 ba-boop. So all the way filled up. We've got 10 boxes filled. We're ending the fight. We're going to make this move right now. So we're going to roll 2d10 and see. Now there's only a 1 in 100 chance that we won't at least get a weak hit on this. Now let's watch that happen. Let's roll that natural 1 on a D100. Okay, good. When that 1 was sitting on the 10, we got a strong hit on it, because 10 is bigger than 8 and 6. This has been math with Midnight Jester. Royalty Queen, welcome back. Coyote Devereaux just actually won a fist fight with somebody. Now, granted, he won it by falling on his back and kicking him in the nuts, but still, I think Tom's going to kind of respect it. Now, let's see. So we got a strong hit on Rudolph Huck. He's out of the fight, having just been kicked squarely in a place. Oop, forget, is there... I want to just delete all these real quick. I want to do a marquee selection. Is there a way to do that? I don't want to move. I just want to... Whatever. I'll worry about that in a bit. Let's see what happens when you get a strong hit on the ending the fight move. So, the foe is no longer in the fight. Yeah, he is doing the, like, wobbling around. He's dropped his weapon. He's, like, curled up. Because, indeed, steel-toe boot... it's bad enough being kicked without it. I can tell you that. Can't even imagine what it's like with that. Just some shattering. Like, we'll say hello to his testicles tomorrow. They'll be back later. So they're killed, out of action, flee or surrender is appropriate to the situation. I think, out of action, based on what we were describing before. Now, what's interesting about this game, again, is, as mentioned, the way you really progress as a character, it's not about winning fights. All that we earn from winning this fight is nothing bad is going to... Like, we've won the fight, so we're not going to be hurt by it. We're not going to have further complications from the fight. But we don't, like, get experience points or really progress in any way other than the story. But we've taken care of this foe. At least I'm nearly certain of that. I don't think you get experience points for fights. I think it's just for vows. Like, if you swear a vow to defeat a person and you kill them, then yeah, you'll get experience for that. But we get rid of Rudolph, and I think Ton now stands up and walks over and, like, gives a grudging, not even grudging. I think it's like, it's gruff is more the word I was saying. It's just like, I wasn't expecting you to have it in you, but you pulled it out, little man. And, like, grabs this guy by the back of his collar and just, like, lifts him in the air while he's, still holding on to himself. And then pulls out a knife from somewhere on his belt and is ready to just, slit this guy's throat. And Coyote's going to try and compel him, but whoa, hold on, like, does he care? You know what? Coyote doesn't have a vow about this guy or anything, and he's still not exactly a really nice guy. He's got bigger fish to fry. It's choose your battles, and this isn't the one he's going to choose. Yeah, I think just with this guy being out of action, it's easy enough. Tom just slits his throat. But the complication that comes with that is, of course, that the family that he was protecting is not all that far away. And I think there's going to be this horrific wail from up above because somebody was watching it. Hearing what was going on out there, his wife started peeking out and seeing her husband had his throat slit, right? Like, yeah, she can't hold it in. There's a horrific wail, and both of them look up there and see her, just up on the cliffside. And this is where Coyote steps in a little bit more because Ton has in his eyes like, okay, well, this is another thing that needs to be taken care of. His eye is on his weaponry. Like, we don't need to leave anybody behind. Coyote doesn't really want to have the family be slaughtered. He'd like to think a little bit more highly of himself. So this is where the compel move comes in, because he wants Ton to step down and be like, look, man, she's not. He's gonna, like, step in front of Ton and be like, hey, oh, come on, man, like, really? We're out in the middle of here. What's she gonna do? She's just... Can you blame her? Look what you just did. They must be family or something. Just... What's going to happen if we leave her behind? Just let her go. Come on, man. He's trying to pacify him into just putting his weapon away and just walking away. Just... He'll even say, like, look, we'll rifle through his body, see what he's got. We earned that much. He attacked us. He attacked us. I'm sorry, but these things happen when you throw an axe at a stranger. And he like picks up that initial axe that was thrown. Coyote like puts it on his belt, just in case. So he's got this little throwing axe tucked in. He's like, sorry, but he started it. My condolences. I'm really sorry it had to happen this way, but we're gonna leave you alone, right? And let's see if the compel works. So he's gonna roll his plus heart, which thankfully is his top stat. Coyote is pretty persuasive when like he can talk people into and out of things. No, not when the dice get involved, but mechanically he should be able to. Yeah, he's not bluffing, stealing, or cheating or anything. So his trickster thing doesn't come in. He's just trying to be a nice guy. Let's see what we get. A weak hit on this. What does that do? So on a weak hit, he'll do what I want, but they ask something in return. Okay, that's easy enough for me. Again, this isn't a big moment. I think it's just he says fine, but then like that throwing axe that Coyote just tucked into his belt, like Ton just reaches over and like plucks that back out. He's like, but I keep this. But I keep the goods. So like Ton starts rifling through. Anything that we find, he keeps, and I don't think there's anything of that important to really keep track of. He's got, probably some spare cash and like he's got some coinage and some rations and things like that. Like probably not all of it on his person though. I think on his person it would probably just be a couple of spare throwing axes and you should have some kind of sentimental item or something that Ton's gonna take just because. Let's use the Oracle to try and influence that. Let's see, what do we got here? Theme might help inspire this? I forget what exactly theme really does. Let's see. Burden. Oh, right. Okay, so the burden they're carrying. Remember, this person was finding redemption for other family members they've lost on the road. There's gotta be some item from a lost family member. The classic would be, a locket or something that they made. Anybody have any ideas on this? Like something sentimental from another family member that Ton is just going to take with him. Like, I see it as almost like a, those like corn husk dolls that you can like tie together with, I think like just some corn husk doll from like a lost daughter or something. That he carried with him, and Ton takes it knowing that like the husk, like he immediately starts untying it because he's like, we could use the husks to like wrap things for cooking, and just immediately just starts taking it, not even as an item but just breaks it down into its material components, tucks those into his puts them into a pouch, and they start walking off because he doesn't have a lot of stuff and they're not gonna like rifle through the cave. But with that out of the way and like just this wailing family left behind, I'm gonna make a note about that because like it's the kind of not clean break that we've left behind for later. So the Huck family, will remember what happened on the road. It's just if we ever need to narratively tie things back in, we'll bring them back in later. But it's time to do another Undertake the Journey move. Let's see if we can finally get ourselves back to the road, find ourselves with Babyface, or Angelface. Get our way back to Angelface and maybe actually do the things we're supposed to be doing so we can get actual character progress. So, Undertake a Journey. Again, we're going to have Ton roll his wits, which is equal to Coyote's heart. See what happens. A weak hit. Now, this is one I might consider rolling some momentum, burning some momentum on. Because Oh. Wait, no, weak hit's not that bad. It's... Never mind. Weak hit is we reach a waypoint and mark progress, but we suffer -1 supply. Oh, but Coyote does not have the supply to use. I forget. Let's see what happens when you can't afford... When you have to... When you're out of supply. There we go. When your supply is exhausted, reduced to 0, mark unprepared. Oh, I should have done that because I am at 0. Oh, you know what that means, actually. You very well might not. So each of these conditions, the reason why you don't want them is every time you get a condition, it lowers the value that your momentum resets at. So ordinarily, when you burn momentum, it goes down to +2. Now, what I should have been having this at, and it hasn't come up yet, so it doesn't matter. But this should be a +1 because I have a condition active. So for as long as I have the unprepared condition, my momentum is at a more of a disadvantage. But mark unprepared, we've done that. If you suffer additional minus supply while unprepared, you must exchange each additional supply for any combination of health, spirit, or momentum as appropriate to the situation. Spirit is also at 0, so I couldn't do that. We are low on so many things. We really need to restock up on just everything. I mean, what makes sense is it's the... He's still not allowing Coyote to have... Like, he's still just denying Coyote things because he doesn't care. And Coyote is not doing the hunting for himself. So I think he's... Like, Coyote's starving. Maybe not literally to death right now, but, like, it's making an impact on him because his stomach is constantly rumbling. He hasn't eaten anything in, like, 2 days. And he's just did this fight. So... But we do reach a waypoint, and we need to find out what that's like. So where do they make... Where's our next waypoint as we hit 9 on this get back to town tracker? Now, it may... I think I'm just going to end this and make our progress move on it. So the waypoint may just be the destination. Let's see real quick. Let me just mark that in. So I always like making sure to mark these, even if I'm about to finish it off, because you never know if I might get sidetracked with something, and I want to make sure, you know, if I accidentally take a month off or something, or unintentionally, not accidentally, I want everything to be the way it was. I won't remember. So we reach our waypoint, which is probably just going to be the destination. So it would be, you know, we get back to the road where Coyote initially left behind. I guess we're getting back to town, so it would be Gibbet itself, not the road outside of it. All right, reach our destination. So roll the challenge dice and compare to our progress. Yeah, we're just going to say we've reached Gibbet. Momentum is ignored on this roll. Let's see what happens. What is it like when we get there? Now, it's been a while. We've left some stuff behind. I think we, like, pass the road along the way and see that the caravan that we left behind, we had this whole plan going. They're not there anymore. They weren't waiting for a question mark amount of time. So let's roll these 2d10s against a 9. Let's see what happens. Hey, there we go. A strong hit. 6 and a 2. We have reached our destination. Bam. Oh, I guess it was a dangerous one, so it was against an 8. I still would have done it, and it still would have been a strong hit, so we're fine. Yeah, that's right. It was 2 per marker, not 3. All right, we're back to town. We've cleared a couple of things from there. Granted, one of them was one we added, but we're getting closer. We got our strong hit, so make another move now and add a +1. The situation at our destination favors us. Oh, okay. So we get our +1 momentum. Bam. Almost maxed out. This is good. And just enjoy having our high momentum now, because as soon as we burn it, it's going to be done. So the situation at my destination favors me. Now, what I really need to do, I really, really need to build back up my, you know, health, spirit, and supply and all that stuff. I think we're back in town now. We have the ability to use our... Again, I always feel like a fool when I say this because I don't know how this word is actually pronounced. I've only ever seen it in writing, and I heard it once. It's like, what, sojourn? Sojourn. I've said sojourn for years because I always saw it just written out, but then I finally heard somebody and that's not quite how it was pronounced. I don't know, but like sojourn, I think it was a softer J. Anyway, but we can spend time in the community seeking assistance. Basically, I think Coyote gets back to town and immediately, like, he's been starving for days and just like runs into a place that could have food, and he needs to recover. So it's the first thing he tries to do is just get help here. He's gonna leave Ton behind now. Yeah, that's the tricky thing. He's leaving Ton behind. He doesn't know what he's gonna do. Presumably, he's gonna plant that thing. I forget. Do I have any kind of benefit on this next roll? Because I want to consider carefully how I do this. Because I'd like him to like have Ton come with him, but if I've got like a bonus on this roll, I'd rather resupply. Let's see. Yes, make another move now and add +1. Okay, so whatever move we do next is the one that we're gonna be better than usual. Oh, really? It is just sojourn? Okay. Somebody may have just mispronounced it then. I don't know. I'll look into it later, but cool. Then I'll just say sojourn. Yeah, I think it's interesting to just let's not keep our eye on Ton. We're going to leave that a little bit more of a blank canvas, and we don't know exactly what he's going to get up to. Coyote is just so desperate that he immediately runs into eat something and like recuperate a little bit. So we're going to have our +1 on sojourn. Now, what's great about this is if we can get a strong hit on this, we'll be able to get a couple of different bonuses. And if we share a bond, choose one more. Now, we don't. The only thing I could... Yeah, I don't have a bond with the community. I have a bond with... Theoretically, if I were doing this with, like... Yeah, anyway. Okay. Yeah. So let's roll our heart with a +1. Because we are coming right off the strong hit of ending the journey. We have a favorable situation. Somebody, I think the caravan got here and like the town's been resupplied and like, I don't know, maybe there's we'll have to find out a little bit more about like, I feel like the town is, somebody's happy to see me. Now, the most obvious thing would be like if the caravan did, like we had our plan and we left. They could have just done the plan without us. The only reason I don't want to do that is because it's a vow and I don't want to just end it. Like we can't just end this. Stealing them from the caravan and delivering back to, yeah, that's its own thing. But, or maybe they're just worried. Like people from the caravan, like they've got a shop here and like, I don't know, somebody I left a good impression on and they're just really happy to see me. I don't know, they just found me a charming fellow, and were just worried that I would never come back. We're going to go with that, and make this roll and see what happens. There we go. Strong hit. It's a good thing we had that +1. That +1 made a big difference. It brought it from weak to strong, and we don't have to kill our momentum, which we really don't want to do. So, we can do a couple of things. Since we have a strong hit, we get to choose 2 from the categories below. On a hit, you and your allies may each focus on one of your chosen recover actions and roll +heart again. If you share a bond at +1. On a strong hit, take +2 more for that action. Oh no, hold on. Sorry, I had to reread this. I'm a little bit confused. So, we have our first move, which was a strong hit. So we choose 2 from the categories below. There's an additional paragraph after all. All right, so let's just do that first. So first things first, we could equip, there we go, clear the unprepared debility and take +1 supply. We definitely need to do that. So that's gone, which means this is going to go back up to a +2. So we clear that condition. Or debility. It says it's a condition. It is a debility, but we've cleared it. So that's back up to a +2. Our supply goes up by 1. And so we just kind of like somebody helps us back along the road. They're like, oh my God, you were so... I'm like telling stories like to this person who was from the caravan and talking about how this guy was starving me and everything. They're like, oh my God, you just... Here, like, have some more. I've got some extras. You can't... I can't believe... We're swapping stories about just how hard the road has been. And then one more on here. Let's see. I could just indeed... So there's all the condition ones are basically you could either clear condition and get +1 or take +2 for other things. I don't have any more conditions to clear, so obviously I'm going to do one of those. So now my spirit is at 0, my health is at 1. Neither of those are great, but something being at 0, as we know, is that's a big deal. In fact, I wonder if my spirit being at 0 is also a problem. Let me just check that really quick. I don't think so. Yeah, it looks like out of supply is the only one where it's like something happens immediately as you're at 0. So we're fine on that. I'm going to bring my spirit back up to 2. Basically, like, it's just the companionship. So we had this conversation with the person, like, I'm in a tavern or something, I'm eating some food, I'm doing all of that. I have this friend from the road that I didn't even know was a friend. I'm like, Coyote is as shocked as anybody that, like, oh my God, somebody liked me, and, like, is happy that I'm alive. I think this is one of the only times in his life he's experienced a situation where somebody is genuinely happy to see him. And it's a little weird, and it helps bring his spirits up. He's like, hey, oh my God, like, somebody actually likes me. Maybe I'm not such a piece of shit after all. So yeah, like this conversation they have of just like breaking bread together and like having somebody be happy to see him, it makes him feel better. It's been a long road, and obviously they're very different from Tan on that. But then this conversation turns into a little bit more of hushed tones because Coyote. Let's give this person a name. If Coyote has a friend, they deserve a name. We need to know more about this person. So let's see. So first of all, what kind of person are they? Character role. Another forester. Fuck that. We're not doing another forester. We just had that role. Let's roll it again. A raider. Interesting. That's okay. But like a nice raider, a raider from these parts. Oh, that's good. No, and that would explain why Coyote. Like, so this guy's a little bit. This person, I wouldn't determine a gender yet, but this person is a little bit stockier, and that might be why Coyote would be willing to confide a little bit in some of the next stuff about how the problems he's been having with Tan and how there's going to be some additional trouble. So they're a raider, and let's get a description on him. Stingy. Okay, well that doesn't fit at all because they were just sharing everything with Coyote. So again, let's re-roll that. Quiet. I don't interpret this as like a mousy kind of quietness, but just like a person who's so calm and collected that they're very soft spoken. Just they know that if you speak quietly, people will lean in and listen. I think we had that before on a different character. But yeah, like very happy to see Coyote, but in a very subdued kind of way. Just like you can see it just more written on their face than anything. It's like, you know, I was very worried for a time that you weren't going to make it back. But I'm glad despite everything you talked about, you did make it. And Coyote kind of following suit in these hushed tones, kind of leans in a little bit and whispers like, I'm going to have to be honest. I may have had to make some promises along the way that I may have brought some more trouble back to Gibbet than I should have. What? Tell me what happened? First of all, I'm really sorry about this. You have to understand these are choices made for survival. No, of course. I trust you, Coyote, which he like has to hold back a snicker on that. He's like, I trust you that you wouldn't have done it unless you had to. Just, it's okay. Tell me. No matter what you've done, there's a way we can get around it. Yes, welcome back, Fromage. we were just talking in very hushed tones for this character, and then we suddenly have this theme, and yes, Ironsworn is back. Coyote actually won a fist fight. You missed it. You'll have to check out the VOD later on YouTube, but Coyote won a fist fight with like a person. Yeah, it happened to go well. And they finally made it back to town. So anyway, he's been talking with this person who was actually happy to see him in town. And so anyway, he's like, whatever you've done, Coyote, there's a way out of it. It's okay. I feel like this person used to be a, oh, that would be really interesting if like, what if this person used to be like a priest? Like they're a raider, we determined that, but, oh, and we still need a name for this person. So I need a good name for somebody who used to be a man of the cloth. And so like, they're very used to like listening to people and giving them like solace and everything, but they've turned to a lifestyle of raiding. Like something happened. I want to know more about this character. We'll explore later, but right now we need a name for him. So a person that used to be a man of the cloth and is now a raider, out of some kind of just like, they left that behind, but they still have a little bit there. I feel like people just like in the like the raiding clan that he like, he's obviously got some kind of posse or something. They probably just call him like I think they call him Big Brother because he used to be, you know, brother something in the eyes of the church that he was from. So yeah, I think these days they call him Big Brother, and he's got a I think he still keeps up the he's got like a tonsured look where like he does the like top of his head is bald. He's got a Friar Tuck kind of hairstyle that he keeps up. That's like a little close cropped. With this, I see it as this like stark black ring around his head right now. And yeah, he's very barrel chested. Got a crooked nose from now the raiding days, and still has this like fucking enormous religious implement that he wears around his neck. It's not a cross because we don't have direct like Catholicism or anything in this setting, but like something similar to that. It would be as if you're wearing an enormous crucifix, like big enough that it would like build the muscles in your neck to wear this all the time. Rolled up sleeves with arms covered in this coarse black hair, wearing these just like wearing a like sweat stained button up shirt and some suspenders that have like all sorts of these just like things that are like pinned down the suspender. It's like he's got his pieces of flair, but they're less stupid than that. There's some kind of like little trinkets and stuff that have some kind of like it's unclear the pattern between them. There's some kind of sentimental value in all of them, like little tiny things that he's just like pinned down to his left suspender. So Big Brother, the former priest turned raider. I don't know what his original name was. Maybe he'll confide that to us someday if we form a bond with him. And which I'd love to do. I know we have one more bond slot open, but I don't want him to have initially been a friend of ours. I want to form a friendship. So yeah. Whatever. He's just this very soft-spoken kind of guy. He's got a very like pear-shaped head. You're behind on Ironsworn. Well, the current objective, a lot of it is a little bit the same. We're still wrapping up some of the initial stuff we've got. So as you can see with the vows that we've got there, we're still working on this whole like stealing a caravan, delivering back to Red Robert, helping Chops frame Red Robert for murder, and then we had a new one from last time. This traveling companion that we wound up with who was being a real jerk to us. He's going to be leading his raider folk back to this town. We're basically about to explain it. And we're going to try and defend the town against them and kill this guy when the moment comes. So Big Brother kind of leans in and takes Coyote's hands in his, clasps him around and like says, "It's okay. Just tell me what happened. We'll find a way out." And Coyote says, "Did you happen to see the person that I went into town with? When I got here, I had a traveling companion." No, I can't say that I did. Tell me. Or I guess he already told him about the traveling. I guess he talked about being starved by him. So, never mind. Coyote would have said more like, "So Tan, that asshole of a traveling companion. Are you familiar with a clan called the Shadow Bears?" And this guy being a raider, I think he's definitely familiar with the other like tribes in the area that would be, especially the Shadow Bears if they're also kind of raiders. He takes like a long inhale and long nod, and Big Brother just says, "Oh yes, I've run across a shadow bear or two. So he's one of their folk, hey?" Yeah. I was pretty lost on my way back. I was trying to find my way to town. Stuff happened on the road. I got way turned out of sorts. And I was looking for my way back, and I ran into... Well, technically, first I ran into the Blackfoots, but that didn't go all that well. Then I ran into the Shadow Bears. They, Alright. I don't know in so many words if this is exactly what's going to happen, but I got a bad feeling about the way they were talking. Tan was going to escort me back to town. He'd help me get there. But they're going to be planting... He's got this iron circlet thing. They're going to be planting it somewhere in town. He's probably already done it, if I'm being honest. I wish I'd kept an eye on him, but I was too starving. I didn't have my wits about me. He's planted an iron circlet somewhere in town. Maybe even already left. The impression I've got, this circlet, it's like a beacon to the Shadow Bears. It's going to allow them to do some kind of... It's like some kind of hoodoo that's going to let them all just appear here, and they're going to attack the town. Gibbet is in trouble. We need to start preparing. I don't know how long this ritual takes. I don't know what we can do. But I'm going to make things right. I will be part of the defense. First thing we got to do... We got to find that... We got to find that circlet. I think... Tell me what you think, but... I think we need to form as much of a party as possible to just scour this town, okay? Because these Shadow Bears mean business, and having looked around this place, we don't exactly have a great standing army. Big Brother nods a little bit and says, "Well, there are those among us who can do what we can." And Coyote is going to try and compel Big Brother to convince his clan... because he's a raider with a group, that they need, like, compel him, please, I need you to help me on this. I can't do it by myself. If things go poorly and we can't find the circlet in time, I need you to help me protect this town. I don't think it should be that hard of a thing for him to compel. Like, it makes sense. This guy clearly spends some time here and is a friend. Now, we don't share a bond, so I don't get the +1, but... I'm trying to charm, pacify, barter, or convince him. Gonna roll my heart and just try and convince this guy, like, he needs to help me protect the town. Now, I think if this works, this is definitely a step in the direction of I will defend Gibbet, because he's raising forces to help him in the defense. So let's do it. Let's roll our heart. See what happens. Oof, that 8. Now, let's see. What happens on a compel... I always have to remind myself every single time. Right, this is... we would get it, but they'd want something in return. I mean, that makes sense. We're not bonded or anything yet, so yeah, I'm fine with that. So, we take +1 momentum, we get what we want. So our momentum is now maxed out. And he will raise the army, but let's find out a character goal. And as always, this is the type of thing that if y'all have any ideas, please put them forth in the chat. I've got chat constantly open. I'm reading what we got. If you have any ideas to help inspire where to take things, this character has a goal. Big Brother wants something in return. Restore a relationship. Big Brother, I think, is friends with Red Robert. He's not in the gang. Red Robert has the gang. He's not part of the ones that Coyote poison. But I think they work together a lot. And so I think in return, Big Brother is going to say that, but you got to make good with, like, I'm willing to help you, and I'm sure I can get the others to as well. If I ask them, they will follow. Or if I tell them, they will follow. But words passed around, Coyote Devereaux. I know that you and Red Robert are butting heads with each other in some very significant ways. And it pains me. You're both good people. You really are. When it's obviously we as the audience know that neither of them are good people. So anyway, there's good in both of you. And you're both great companions of mine. And I'm sorry to have to do this, but I don't want you fighting each other anymore. You need to make peace with him. And much as I don't want this town to go to be waylaid, it seems to be more of a problem for you than for me. Me and mine, we can carry on. We'll find another town to hang our hats for a little while. But you need this. And it's a jerk thing for me to do, but I'm going to do it because it's important to me. Make peace. And he starts standing up from the table. Come back to me when you've made peace. And yeah, he walks out. And Coyote is not sure how to progress on this just yet. He kind of puts his hands in his pockets and starts walking out. Because he's like, this definitely complicates things. Because I've got, I got to deliver this caravan back to Red Robert. I'm already sworn, and I had a drunken iron vow to help frame Red Robert for murder. There's a lot of things here that, this is the point where we're what's most important to Coyote? Does he really want this friendship? This is the first person who's treated him like a real friend. Because even Angelface was friendly, but didn't have the same kind of utter concern for him. And it felt really nice. And another thing that we need to consider real quick is, so Coyote's dad this whole time has been in jail, in the prison of Red Robert. He needs him to get back out. Now, the plan was to ambush him, but now he's been given this other side. Man, I gave myself I like making impediments for myself as a player, and this one it's definitely, I'm trying to think my way around it a little bit. I'm like, what do we do about that? Do I call off that plan? But then I'm fucking over the caravan. Do I piss off a huge caravan of people just trying to sell things and indeed just deliver it without the ambush? I mean, first thing I need to find out, what happened? How long has it been? I think Coyote, while he's in the town, during that conversation, he probably mentioned he didn't know how much time has passed and got a sense of the date. And I think we solidify that now that Coyote has now been out of town for it turned into I think it turned into a 3-week journey. He was expecting to go out and come back that day. It turned into 3 weeks. I know, right? It's the campaign just keeps unfurling into a different direction. It keeps things interesting. And we've barely even done anything to really make progress. Partially because of me learning how to play the game effectively. Yeah, so it turned into this 3-week journey. It's walking around trying to get his head together and think about okay, what should I do about this? How do I make peace? How do I gel all these things together to not piss off the caravan? What's this great trick I can pull out of my sleeve? That was a very mixed metaphor. Anyway, make peace with Red Robert. Well, he could definitely there's a vow he could just break, like the framing Red Robert for murder. If he's gonna make peace, there's the easy solution to all of this. And it's not easy, but I mean, the easiest way to wrap all of this up is for Coyote to lean back into his nature and be a real shithead. And he doesn't need to make peace with Red Robert. He needs to convince Big Brother that he's made peace with him. And all he has to do is lie. If he can find some way to make some additional evidence, yeah, how would make peace with Red Robert? How would he convince him? Like, obviously he could just say like, "Oh yeah, I totally did it," but like, what could he do to make that a more convincing lie? All right, so here's what I think we might do. I need to find Angel Face. We need to do our plan. First we need to see what happened with the plan. So I'm gonna find her. She's a bond of mine. I don't think it should be any problem to find her. Like, I look around town. Eventually, I find Angel Face, who similarly is like, "Oh my God, Coyote? Where have you been? We were obviously we went back after a little while. Where did you go?" Well, and he relays the whole story and everything. We're not going to go through it again. I don't think he's yet said about like the Blackfoot, the Shadow Bears coming into town though. He just tells the story about like Ton and how he got all lost and waylaid and everything, and coming back. Good Lord, you not have great survival skills, Coyote. yeah, I know. So I gotta ask, what happened? What's the deal with the carrot? Did you guys do the plan? No, we're not doing the plan without you. You're the one who's supposed to deliver it. So what happened? Has Red Robert done it? Like, what's been going on around town? And she tells him nobody's seen from Robert ever since. He hasn't left his little compound, I guess you could call it. Usually, like, and the way she said, like, it's a little bit more strange for him. Like, usually he would be in and out of town doing stuff. Like, he's not a complete isolated loner. But he hasn't left. Some of his crewmates have been around though. They've obviously gotten better. And she like gestures with her head over to a direction where we can see a group of them like playing cards or something with some people. They've gotten a little bit better, and they've been about. Nobody's seen Robert. Have you talked to him at all? Have they said anything about him? Be my guest. I'm not going to do it. Shit, no, I haven't had that conversation. And Coyote, well, he knows this could go in several different directions, and this could be the end. So yeah, he's going to be like, all right, I will. He's got bravery. He's got heart. He's going to walk up to their table and take a seat right away. To this like game in progress. You know, they're just playing poker or some equivalent. Hello there, gentlemen. And like they turn and see who it is, and their faces start contorting a little bit, because last we saw these people, or we never saw them, but we heard about them. Last they saw Coyote Devereaux, he sold them a miracle elixir that made them all sick. He accidentally poisoned them all. Not exactly the number one person that they would want to see. Their faces turn to scowls, and they start like reaching towards things on their belt. Like, they don't all have, again, guns are really rare in this world, so it's not like they're all equipped with 6-shooters, but like they're reaching for knives and stuff, getting ready to just like throw down. It's like, hold on. I come in peace. Yeah, you do. Speak quickly. Look, I came to make good on what happened. I know there was a bad batch of the elixir. Robert told me what happened. He told me it went bad. I'm here to make good, pay recompense. I understand if you don't want a replacement, but I'm here to return your money. And oh wait, if he pays his supply, he'll go back down to 0. I'm here to make good on that, or I'm here to offer my sincerest apologies for what happened, and to give you all a. We don't have any more of the elixir ready, but when we get our next batch in, obviously you are entitled to a replacement. I just wanted to offer my sincerest apologies and ask you if you could please tell me. I've been a little bit worried about Robert. I haven't seen him around. Did he it wasn't the elixir, was it? Please tell me it wasn't that. And so he's going to try and roll this compel. It's going to be a couple of things. One is to not just beat the shit out of him right here, but also to tell him like what the deal with Robert is. He's trying to compel them into talking about like what he's been up to, why he hasn't been seen around town, in a little bit of an indirect way. Now, he's definitely bluffing here. He's using his trickster ability to compel via talking about how it was a bad batch and convince them that that's all it was. So we'll see if that works. He gets a +1 because he is a trickster. He's really good at selling this. So we're going to roll that heart. Or no, he's lying, so he's rolling the shadow. It's shadow with the +1. And there we go. We got our weak hit, as usual. So the compel is, as always, it's the they'll do it, but they want something in return. What do they want in return? So I think they want to be paid. Like they want their money back. Is, I think, easily what they would want most of that situation. Like, they accept the apologies, but come on. He's obviously leaving something out here. So, yeah, okay, so they want to get paid. Coyote, obviously they're playing a game of poker right now, sees a great opportunity here and says, well, why don't we make it a little bit interesting? Why don't, sure, I could just pay you the money back right now. No problem. It was obviously a problem. I could pay you the money back right now, but that's chump change. Or why don't I just why don't I play you for it? And then I'll buy in for way more. If you want just the regular money back, sure, I'll just give it to you right now. Or I'll give you guys 5-1 on this. What's the buy-in on this? And they give, whatever the buy-in is. Yeah, I'll buy in with 5 times that amount. And yeah, I'll buy in with 5 times that amount and just get the same amount of chips. How's that sound? What would you prefer? Get back your money, or potentially get back 5 times your money? All you gotta do is beat me. Sounds more interesting to me, doesn't it? So, this is an additional compel, basically, to be like, hey, you want to play for it, don't you? You want to make this interesting. And this one is more of just a charm thing. He's not lying or swindling. He's just being serious. He will do this thing. And mechanically, it doesn't even matter. The heart is the same as shadow with +1. So let's see. I really want this to succeed. There we go. It says strong hit. There we go. So a strong hit on this. He compels them to indeed. Now we would theoretically keep bumping our momentum with these, but it's maxed out. So they'll do what I want, share what I know, take +1 momentum. If you use this to gather information, make that move now and add +1. Oh, I need to do that for the other thing, because the first compel, so we just had 2 compels in a row. The first one was to get information about Red Robert, so let me do that. I want to find out what he's up to. We have a +1 on this roll. Then we'll do the poker game and see how that goes. Okay, so I'm rolling my plus wits. It is a good thing I have the +1 on this. That'll make it at least possible. And we have a miss, but I could indeed kill momentum on this. Because it's a little bit cheatery, but I know I'm about to get some back. And I got home. What would I get on a strong hit? Take control. I would get something specific and helpful. Yeah, I really need to... That would really help. Okay, I'm going to kill momentum. Bring it all the way back down to +2. When I'm asking them questions, and this probably continues during the card game a little bit, we're kind of continuing to prod each other about Red Robert and like what's going on with him. And so I get a strong hit on this, which will give me something specific and helpful and specific, and +2 momentum. So I burn it. It already goes back up to +4. So the specific thing they tell me, they're telling me all about how Robert is getting really paranoid. Because he knows that the caravan, he's told us, like Robert told us all about his deal with you. You were supposed to bring the caravan back by now, or you're supposed to have robbed the caravan and brought it back by now. And the fact that you haven't returned is getting him really paranoid. He's worried. He's been worried that you pushed him a little bit too far, and you're gonna do something. And obviously that's kind of true. So yeah, they tell me about how he's just super paranoid right now. He has not left the compound. He's been making them get everything for him, and bring it back. Like they've been doing all deliveries. He hasn't let anybody else come in and out. I think also because I got a strong hit on this, something specific and helpful. Obviously, he would ask about his dad and be like, "So what about my dad? What has he done?" And they look at each other, and they look back and go, "He's not doing well. Robert has not been kind, but he's still alive." And I think that's all they're going to tell him unless I make some other kind of move, but he's still alive. Robert has not been kind. He's still in the jail cell. So we now, to continue shoring things up, we had that one other compel that we got a strong hit on, so we take +1 momentum for that, which was their playing the game with me. So we're going to represent this whole poker game in one quick move. Ready? This is going to be an adventure move, Face Danger, because we're doing something risky or reacting to an imminent threat. In this case, the risky thing is we're totally cheating our way through this game. We've got a lot of money on the line. We're using deception, stealth, or trickery. So we're going to roll our shadow. And that qualifies for our trickster thing. Clearly, Coyote is no stranger to cheating at card games. He's got all sorts of sleight of hand. He's probably even got, as we've described before, that little like head bandage where he keeps things. There's probably a section where he can scratch his head and pull out an ace and tuck it up his sleeve real quick. He knows all sorts of tricks. There's a reason why, as far as he was concerned, he wasn't risking anything. He would have said that he would pay infinite amount of money. He knows he'll win. Now, he was a little bit more confident before he burned his momentum, but he's going to win this game as far as he's concerned. He's facing danger. Let's do it. Shadow with a +1. Weak hit. Can we make it any better with momentum? We cannot. I should have tried to secure an advantage first. That was my... Not remembering all the things, but let's see. Weak hit. You succeed, but face a troublesome cost. Choose one. You're delayed, lose advantage, or face a new danger, suffer -1 momentum, you're tired or hurt, you're dispirited or afraid. So basically, we lose one on a track. Either momentum, endure harm, endure stress, or supply. I'd rather just, lose the momentum. So I think it's basically just that it takes longer than he expects. Like, his cheating is working, but like, the only way for it, like, they're wary enough that like he can only push so hard with it. So like, he's got to. It's a really long going thing, and so it takes him like it's just hours and hours into the night, and so he loses a little bit of momentum, just getting a little bit lost in the poker game when obviously there's other stuff going on in town. Like, I don't know, the Shadow Bears could be here at some point. We should find the circlet, all sorts of stuff like that they should really be paying attention to. And so our momentum track goes down a little bit because he just spends hours playing a poker game. But he gets what he wants. He wins the game. He does not have to pay them anything. I guess wins their money, too. So really, we should have this as he should gain a supply. Just based on, the situation at hand here. Well, or should he? Here's what I'm going to do, to make it more clean with the rules. Coyote could win their money, but I think he's going to try and leverage this into what he really needs, which is help with situations. Be like, look, I know we've been on a bad foot. I'm not going to take your money, okay? We call it even here, okay? I don't owe you anything. You don't owe me anything. We're all good. Walk away with what you got. Everybody just... You could break even. Yeah, exactly. Well, but I get what I want. Like, I am successful. So I'm just going to have him use this. Like, he's not going to take their money. And we already lost the momentum. So we've already had the, what we lose because of the weak hit. So I'm not going to take any of your money, but I'd like something from you. Well, that's the thing, is, there are ways to increase your supply, and I don't know if this would have counted, which is all the more why I'm doing this, to, not have any kind of weirdness with that. Because, face danger is not a way to gain back supply, typically. Here's what I need you to do. I need you... Oh, here's how he's going to do it. We've had a good time. Everything's all good between... we're all square. Can you go tell Big Brother that we're all square? He's going to use this to compel them to make it seem like they've made peace. That them, and by extension, Red Robert... He's not going to specifically say, oh, by the way, make sure to say that Red Robert and I have peace. But he's just going to imply it through the brothers, his gang having peace. We're all good, right? Apologies all around. Everybody just walk away. It's just the only thing I need from you is... You guys know Big Brother? And they're all like, yeah. Yeah, he makes an impression. He wants us all... He was getting a little bit worried because of the tension between us. And could you just let him know that we're all good now? It would really help me out if he heard it from you, because then he'd know that I'm not just bullshitting him, right? Yeah, so he's just going to try and compel them to do this. Now, here's where I want you guys' opinion on this. Is he lying or swindling? Because technically, and again, I honestly just don't know which way I'm leaning on this. He wasn't lying in there. He is kind of hiding the fact that, the real important thing is that he has peace with Robert, and he's trying to get them to kind of lie on his behalf. He was just trying to charm them into doing it. He's being charming about it, and be like, here, keep your money, just pay me with this instead. But when you really dig down, there's a lie at the heart of all of this, or certainly some hiding the truth. So what do y'all think? Because mechanically, it doesn't even matter. It's going to roll the same amount. I'm just kind of interested in, what do y'all think? Is a lie the important bit at the heart of this, or is it really just about being charming? I'm just going to roll it now, because again, either way, I would either have Trickster helping out my +2 or Heart giving me the +3, so they're both the same. So I'm going to roll it now, but I'm just But Wick, you think it is still more about the charm? Like the lie is buried enough in there that it's more about being charming? Okay, cool. Y'all both agree. Then let's roll the heart. And let's see what happens. Actually, hold on. Let's remember that we have the secured advantage thing. I feel like not taking their money should give me an advantage. You think that puts people in a better mood? I feel like it does. That's easily with charm, loyalty, or courage. So we're going to secure an advantage first, making the preparations of not taking their money. And basically this is just going to determine whether or not that puts them in a better mood, or if they're just like, yeah, you're darn right, you're not going to take our money. So this is secure an advantage first. Strong hit, cool. So we secure an advantage. We can choose one of these. Make another move now, not a progress move, and add +1, or prepare to act, take +2 momentum. I need the momentum build. There's some important stuff coming. I need that +2 momentum, and I'm going to be good enough at this next roll anyway. I don't desperately need the +1. So I've set them up. I've buttered them up by giving back their money, and now for the real thing, asking them for that help. So will you say we've made peace? Let's do our one more roll on this and see what happens. And there we go. Ooh, this is our first one tonight. I had forgotten this was a rule until I hadn't been looking out for it. Thankfully, the game looks out for it on my behalf. You can see there, it says opportunity. That is because we rolled doubles. So in this game, when you roll doubles, it's a critical. It's either a critical hit or a critical fail, depending on whether you got a strong hit or a miss. Now, we got a strong hit, so not only are they going to do it, but it went extra nice. I could turn to some oracles, but I'm definitely open to some suggestions on, like, the first thing I could think of how this goes even better than expected is not only are they going to say it, but I think they're also going to say something back to like maybe put Robert a little bit more at ease with me. Like they're going to indeed kind of make peace between us a little bit, I think. So at least they're going to cure up a little bit of his paranoia so that if I show up there, he's not going to immediately be like, oh my God, you're here to, like, it's just going to get rid of that problem so that when we indeed jump him, he's not going to be on the lookout for it. But let's see what we mechanically get out of that. So we get what we asked for. They're going to do it. We take +1 momentum, so building that all the way up to a +7 now. And yeah. So I feel like because they're going to communicate that we've made peace, and part of the thing of the preparations for the Shadow Bears coming was to round up a posse to fight them. And they've got a raiding group. I think that'll definitely mark progress on here because we did the thing that Big Brother asked us. He said, I'll help you, but you got to do this thing first. We did the thing, or at least as far as he's concerned, we did the thing. And we sort of did. It's weird. Like, as far as Coyote's concerned, like, he's lying and getting them to lie for him. He's like, okay, here's what I want you to do. Now that we're friends, which he legitimately did pacify them. Be like, now that we're friends, wink, wink, go tell that guy that we're friends. And he's like, he doesn't know that we're not actually friends. But all the people that he fake made friends with is, as far as they're concerned, friends with him. So, yeah, it's like he's really lying to himself. Like, he's the only one in the situation who thinks that it's a lie. But anyway, he's done the thing. He has made progress. Oh wait, this is a formidable challenge, right? So he only marks 1 box on this, but he's raised a little bit of a posse, and cleared up the poker game. I think easily the next thing on his mind would be, like, he's got to help his dad, like, especially when he heard that, like, What about, okay. So instead of getting rid of Robert's paranoia, I think the opportunity, I'm going to reach for something different on this. I think the opportunity, as long as, like, it makes a little bit more sense. As long as they're all talking about how they're all friends now and it's all water under the bridge, And at the very least, Coyote is friends with these guys. I think they know that Red Robert's in a mood right now. It's going to be hard to take care of that. But I think he confides to them that obviously, like, at some point, he's going to go back. He's got to finish his business with Robert, get his dad back. Coyote says he wants to go over there and talk to Robert. Will you have my back to have him release my dad? We're gonna make good on everything, but like, just have my back when I try and convince him. Like, hasn't my dad suffered enough? And I think the opportunity here is that they indeed, like, they will do that. He's done enough to make reparations that they will have his back on this. And I think that's really going to help. And why don't we don't have a lot of time left in the session. I want to see how that goes. I want to end on this, where Coyote and them, they're going to walk back together to this compound where it all started. They're going to go see Red Robert. And they're like, first of all, they announce themselves at the door when he certainly does the, "Who is it?" I totally can't remember what kind of voice I gave Red Robert so long ago now. So, he now I remember. Yeah, he's like, "Who is it?" He had a voice kind of like Roberto from Futurama, sort of. I think he was kind of my inspiration point for it. Yeah, who is it? And they say that they're the they're part of. Did we ever give them a name for this gang? I don't think so. I think they were just his gang. Yeah, they announced, we can come up with a name for them later, but they announce themselves as his gang. They do certainly, they're not going to hide from him. It's like, and we brought back Coyote. And I think the way they phrase that as brought back, he very excitedly opens up the door, and like there you can hear these like latches going in a kind of like, how when you try and do something too quickly and it's just not happening all that smoothly. It's like fumbling with latches and getting it open, and like pulls the door open. He's got these wide they practically seem like they're glowing eyes. They're not literally, but like glowing with an excitement as they're like, I want to see him. Hey, Coyote. You've get him inside, and like they all walk him inside. He's a little bit confused at first that like I'm not like, or Coyote is not bound or anything. So, you finally come back, Coyote. You finally made your way back. I can't help but notice there's no caravan goods with you. Well, what happened there? And Coyote kind of looks to the guys and he's like, could you and they look back at him like, hey man, we said we'd have your back on one thing in particular. This is not it. Like, this is you. It's a good question. What did happen with the caravan? Coyote is going to try and he's definitely lying here, because obviously the real plan is they're going to they're gonna rob or swindle him and take him into custody. So it's definitely gonna be a lie. But he's gonna be a little bit brazen with this and walk up and bravely like put his arm around Red's shoulder and just be like, Robert, you got too little faith, man. It's a work in progress. You know me. I'm not a guy who's gonna be able to just go up with a gun and rob the caravan. I gotta be a little bit more underhanded with it. The caravan is back in town. But here's what I did. I made friends with them. I know where they're keeping all the goods. And tonight, when they're asleep, I got my ways in. I'll grab it from there. Look, man, I had no way whatsoever, with no backup. You were going to send your entire crew to rob this caravan. You think I, as one guy, could just show up, deal with with Angel Face all on my own and just take it? No way. It's a little bit more of a long plan. It's happening. So he's gonna try and soothe him into just like being accepting that the plan is in progress. kind of leading him away from trying to cover up and not call attention to that it's been like 3 weeks. And that obviously that's a long plan for just robbing a caravan. But anyway, we're going to do this compel to just pacify him. So it's another heart one. Let's do it real quick. Boom. How's this go? It is a miss. Hey, welcome, Nico. Could I make that any better? I could turn that into a weak hit with my momentum burn. I kind of want to because this is getting bad. Like, this is really important that he accepts this if any of the other stuff is going to follow. So, so yeah, you play the long. The game is so subtle, people don't even know I'm playing it pretty much. That's very much what's going on here. So yeah, I'm gonna kill the momentum and turn this into a weak hit because this is pretty important that we get it set up. I'm gonna have to unfortunately build that momentum back up for some other really important stuff, but it's the constant. I got to keep this momentum, going up and down a little bit more. 'Cause that's the only way to really succeed. So he wants something in return. First of all, it's as above, so I do take +1 momentum. Boop, goes up to 3. Because you get momentum on a hit on this. And I will... That's the end of how this move will matter to me. But I need to know what they want in return, and we're just about out of time, so... This should be one of the last things we do. I really want to resolve this a little bit more cleanly, so we might go a little bit over time. So what does Robert want in return to make up that? Robert, Coyote's got his arm around the shoulder. Robert, takes his hand, lifts it off, and, tosses it aside and goes, "That's all well and good, but it has been 3 whole weeks. It had me sitting here worried that what exactly was going to be going on here. So, I feel like I need a little something of collateral. If you don't have the goods for you already, what do you got on you?" I think he's going to need the, even though it sucks because we just got back out of this, but he's definitely going to take what he's got on his person to hold on, any goods he's got. Reduce his supply back down. I guess technically we don't pay the price on this. That's a miss thing. So he should want something. Oh, no, he's he doesn't trust him. He's like, "That's all well and good, but I want you to tell me where it is. Tell me where's the spot. Where are they locking it up? And, give me the key to get in." Because, Coyote kind of implied that he had a way in. So he's like, I want to grab it for myself. So go on. Give me the key. And so Coyote is going to try and scavenge up from inside his headband of trinkets and stuff, basically just a key to anything, and be like, "Oh yeah, this is the key. This will get you into the storage area." So let's see. I would like to. Let's see. What would be the best way to represent this? I've got my. Let's see. I know there's a thing for I don't think there's a direct scavenging type of thing. I think we can just say yes to this and be like, yeah, he just has a sort of thing. That's the type of thing he would keep there too for just this type of occasion for lie. It's just gonna be all drawn into the lie that he tells. So this is gonna be a face danger. When he does something risky, the risky thing being lying to this guy and saying this is totally the key and giving him basically a false spot. He's gonna think through, and try and consider a spot that would be a really good place to set up the ambush, because obviously they have to change the plan now. So he thinks it through, considers his options, and is going to lie to him and say, this is the spot and here's the key for it. It's like Angel Face probably has a place where she holes up in town, like where she's staying in town, or it would just be some place that there's like a she can get a good shot. I don't know, like a barn or something, where like there's just a lot of hiding places where they can set up an ambush. So he tells him about some barn where they're keeping it. It's like word got out about the you've been taken from a lot of people recently, and so they're starting to get a little bit more careful with it. They decided rather than keep all their supply in some of the normal spots, they've made a deal with a nearby farmer that they can keep their stuff in there because they figured you wouldn't look. However, I just happen to have maybe lifted a key to this barn, and so we'll see if he buys any of this. We're gonna use our shadow with our trickster +1. Which turns into a weak hit that we could not possibly... We have a 10 on there. That we can't use anything with momentum on it. So a weak hit on face danger. You succeed but face a troublesome cost. Choose one. You're delayed, lose advantage, and face a new danger. -1 momentum. Oh, right. It's the lose from one of our trackers. Either momentum, harm, stress, or... I think the fact that I need to come up with this stuff on the fly and change the plan is stressful. And, like, I pull it off, but, like... I am sweating, and like thankfully my the bandana I've got is wicking it up and hiding it, but like my heart is pounding through this. It is I know this situation is starting to get pretty desperate. It's like I don't want to keep changing the plan, and there's a lot of plates to keep spinning with the shadow bears and stuff, so it's stressful. And so I take that. But he believes me, and he snatches the key and puts it into his pocket right away. And the last thing I want to do before we leave this stream tonight is I want to indeed do this thing with the seeing if we can convince him like to let my dad go. And I think this actually kind of plays into it a little bit. Robert is going to sorry, not Robert, Coyote. Let's see, can I justify securing an advantage on this? Yeah. I think the so I'm going to secure an advantage, and it's going to be with the so he's going to be like, all right, so Robert, your pals and I, we were just playing a friendly game. We made good with each other on this. I explained to them about how the you tell them, you know, it was just a bad batch. There was no harm intended. We're all friends here. I've given you the key. You've got everything you need from me, really, to just finish this up on your own. What do you say? Do you think maybe we can just walk away here? And importantly, can you let my dad go? He's been here for 3 weeks. From what I hear, it's not going all that well. You got everything you need. You got the supplies, or you're going to. I'll come along with you if you want, but like, can you just let him go? Or crap. This needs to be split into two things. So the first thing is just talking. He's securing the advantage by just like making it clear how much he's been like they're getting along with the rest of the crew and how they've made apologies. Like, right, we made good, right? And they're like, yeah, totally. Like he's a good guy. So he's going to try and use heart to secure the advantage on this. Well, which part will what work? So he's using heart to just like make it clear that they're all they're friendly now to make it, and they already said that they would back him up on this request. So let's do that real quick. We have a weak hit that, again, we wouldn't be able to use momentum on. So weak hit is your advantage is short-lived, take +1 momentum. Oh, that's fine. So we got our 1 momentum out of this. As they're all like, yeah, no, it's fine. We got your back on this. Like it's true. He was really apologetic, Robert. I really feel like this is all a misunderstanding, and like the dad there, he's certainly paid his price, right? And as promised, they have my back on this. They're helping do it. Now, because I did earn them having my back, and I feel like I need some way to mechanically represent that, which otherwise I don't have right now. Because situationally, I could do this compel regardless. Like I could ask him. I feel like even though there's nothing in the mechanics that says this is worth a +1 on the roll, because they've basically they've agreed to. They're helping me out here. So this final thing, compelling Red Robert to let my dad go, with the help of his gang, we're gonna roll a final heart with +1. Well, no, I guess it's lying with a plus. It's lying with a +2 because I've got Trickster and then the additional +1. Because I'm still very much covering up the fact that I'm leading him into a trap. We're not all friendly. So, again, it doesn't really matter because it's going to be the same amount. But our final roll of the night, probably. Shadow with a +2. Convince him to let my dad go. And if this works, I think it definitely is another waypoint on this, because we've got my dad released, and that's a very important part of it. A milestone. Oh yeah. Oh wait, I was looking at the wrong die. I thought shit. Can I make that any better? I cannot. We have a weak hit on this, which we've seen a lot of weak hits on compels. We know how it works. I'm going to get the +1 momentum. He's going to do what I asked, but he's going to want something in return. So for the final thing, what does he want in return? I mean, at the very least, he definitely wants me to come along with him. Oh. And we're going to do it right now. So I'm not going to have time to set up the ambush. He's going to say, it's fine, but he said, I will let your dad go right after we get back. Well, no, that's kind of more like a he'll let his dad go, and then we're going right away. So we go, we go back into the jail area. We'll see exactly what that looks like next time, because I feel like there's some more area for Coyote to try and figure something out. So yeah, we'll end on that. We have an agreement. I'm gonna put it in my notes. So Red Robert will let Filch go. That's right, it's been so long since we said his name. He's gonna let Filch go, but he and Coyote are going to the fake supply site immediately afterwards. So they're like, we're all gonna go right away. You know, me and the crew and everybody, we're gonna go right now. And yeah, we're going to end it there. Finally making some real progress on this. And let me make sure to mark the... mark this on here, because we've made our... filled in 2 more boxes. And yeah, let's go back to this whole action. I thank you for joining me tonight. I'm really happy to get back into this. I'll be honest, I was really nervous, and a lot of momentum is a very real thing. Like, having been off for a month, there's very strong parts of me that just like, just forget about it. It doesn't even matter. Like, just let it roll into nothing. Let the game be forgotten. I'm really glad I didn't do that. This was a lot of fun. I'm really happy how the story is progressing. We're starting to kind of, we got really spun out in different directions, and I'm happy to start kind of like retightening things, get that focus back, because I'm really interested. I'm really happy that we had this big brother character. He's really interesting to me. I want to see more of him. I want to see what's going to happen with what's going to happen here with this, like, Coyote's leading him to like a lie. There's going to be nothing there. He doesn't have an ambush set up. I don't know what's going to happen there. But yeah, so thank you so much for joining and helping me out with some suggestions and stuff along the way. If this was your first time watching the game and you're like, man, this was vaguely interesting, but I have no idea what was going on. Like, I want to know the full context. All of these VODs are up on YouTube. There's a link down below to my YouTube. There have been 4 previous sessions, I believe. This is session number 5. I'm going to put it up later tonight. And yeah, so that'll be up there this evening. It'll take a little while for it to process and everything. We do this every Saturday night from 8 p.m. Pacific time to 10 p.m. Pacific time. He'd been on a little bit of a hiatus, but I'm planning on being back. We'll be back to do this next Saturday. So the previous 2 hours, whatever that was, your time zone, every Saturday night. Oh, I haven't remembered to give a plug this time. The game we're playing, Ironsworn. If you like this, if you're interested in how like we can play this game entirely without a DM and there's just random rolls that kind of push it along and make the story, I do zero planning for this. I don't think about the game at all until I sit down and do it. All of this story has come out of just the way the rolls have happened, and it's a system that allows it to, like, really gives you enough inspiration to make that happen. You definitely have to supply some creativity on your part, but it helps it a lot. If that intrigues you, or if you want to play this with a group, because that's totally possible too, or one-on-one with another person, which is also possible, I want you to head to ironswornrpg.com. Let me put it into chat. ironswornrpg.com. This game is free. You can get all of these supplements and the PDF and everything for free if you go to that website that I just put into chat. It's a really cool game. I recommend you check it out. Check out the previous VODs. I hope to see you next time. If you're normally around here because you want to hear the cello playing that I do, that'll be tomorrow night, 5 to 9 p.m. Pacific time, Sunday evenings, including tomorrow. We do our cello request stream. Now, this week is going to be a little bit peculiar because we have a challenge. Our first challenge that came up as a result of a clip contest last time. It is going to be... The challenge was Slide Whistle Sunday. So tomorrow is going to be... Hey, welcome, Z. We're just wrapping things up, unfortunately. You did, but it'll be on YouTube tonight. To your theme real quick. So yes, tomorrow there will be cello requests. However, as the challenge was Slide Whistle Sunday, there's going to be a lot more of this than usual. There's going to be a lot of slide whistle requests as well. I am penning it as slide whistle versus cello tomorrow. Oh no, no problem whatsoever. So it's going to be a bit of an interesting stream. We'll see how that goes. But there will be music requests and everything. That'll be tomorrow night, 5 to 9 p.m. Pacific time. I'm now down to just those 2 nights, a Saturday and Sunday, so that I can focus more on making the streams that I do better. Quality over quantity, hopefully. We'll see how that works out. But yes, I can mention that there is all the more incentive to be there from the very beginning tomorrow. I've got some stuff prepared that you may not want to miss. So you may want to be there right there at 5 p.m. or 4:55 when I start the countdown. You won't want to miss some of the opening stuff. Anyway, again, thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this game. I hope you try it out yourself at some point. If you do, please let me know about what kind of adventures you get up to. It is not a Western game by default. This is a hack that I'm doing of it, which is basically just coloring it in a different coat of paint. The default setting is more of a like Viking sort of Outland sort of thing. But yeah, I hope you have good gaming in this and other ventures, and I will see you around tomorrow or next week. Or neither of those. Whatever. I'll see you guys. Thanks for joining me.